Welcome to Life Recovery Today with Stephen Arterburn. In the next half hour, you'll obtain insights and tools to transform your life using the biblical principles found in the 12-step program. We believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience because we all have struggles in life. Struggles with addictions, food, depression, anxiety, and relationships, to name a few. You'll be encouraged to see how others have found a new way of life with hope for the future through life recovery. Your host is Steve Arterburn, founder of New Life Ministries and Women of Faith, author of over 100 books, and a sought-after speaker and teacher. Steve is the co-editor of the Life Recovery Bible, the #1 selling recovery Bible. With over 3 million copies sold, this is the Bible given to inmates by Prison Fellowship and the Pew Bible for the Salvation Army. Now here's Steve.
Hi there, Steve Arterburn here. Welcome to Life Recovery Today. You know, it's the beginning of a brand new year, and I want to remind you that there is this resource. It's probably the best resource we have in life recovery other than the Bible itself, because every step has 4 Bible studies, and if you were to do 1 step a month, and you went through the Bible studies, you'd be better off for it. I just can't say enough about it. Also, just want to mention, if you know someone in prison, I was just out at the Newcastle prison the other day speaking, but Prison Fellowship will provide a Spanish or an English version of the Life Recovery Bible to any person that requests it. And what a great thing for them to start off this year, having a great Bible. It's in large print, because the lighting is not so great in most prisons, and neither is the eyewear. Well, today's episode, I'm going to be teaching about the 5 stages of relapse. Now, I've spent a lot of my life talking about the 4 stages, but now I've added a 5th, and so you're going to experience that. And the whole point of it is that relapse isn't just an event that occurs one day when things are out of control. It's a process, and it begins with something kind of subtle, like complacency. And if we could intervene during the complacency stage, maybe we wouldn't have that big disaster at the end. Well, the hope is that, once we begin to do recovery work, we won't ever relapse. But it is a relapsing problem. And the less chance of relapse is caused by a great plan going forward. So let's listen in and watch on how to prevent relapse through awareness. Hi there. Welcome to this session on relapse. It was supposed to be the 4 stages of relapse. But you know what? In working and studying for this, I, after all these years, have developed a 5th stage of relapse. I can't even believe I didn't include it as the 5th stage. I'm not going to tell you which one it is. But these are 5 stages of relapse. Before we talk about those 5 stages, I want to talk to you about the what if clause. When a person goes into treatment, before they come out of treatment, there needs to be a what if clause. And here's what that is. The person might be saying, well, that's it. I'm done with that, and I'll never do that, whatever that is, again. And then you want to gently and delicately approach the issue of, I really believe you are committed, devoted to recovery. But what if it isn't the same 2 weeks from now? What if things don't go as you're thinking they're going to go? What could we agree on right now and put it in writing that's going to happen if it doesn't go the way you're saying it's going to go? So when a person comes out of treatment, if they're married, the spouse needs to know what this person is agreeing to do if they relapse or they move toward total relapse. It's the what if. And nobody wants to think about this, but you need to. And so it needs to say things like, if I enter into the process of relapse, I agree to, and that might be go back into treatment, or I will now go to the treatment I said I didn't need. I will increase the amount of meetings that I go to. I will add a counselor who knows about addiction if I don't have that as part of my recovery plan. I will attend more men's support or women's support, Bible studies, things like that. I want to be sure that you're committed to this what if scenario. I know that none of us want to believe it's going to happen, but it could. So let's write it out. What if you start to slip? What are you committed to doing? And usually a person will commit to some pretty serious stuff. Then it's just a matter of when it happens, they need to live up to that commitment. That's more difficult, but everybody has to be in this together so that nobody says, well, it's okay, you don't have to do that. No, they need to do whatever they've agreed to do. Before we talk about the 5 stages, let's talk about some things that would need to be in place if a person isn't relapsing. Well, we've gone through developing that plan, and that plan should be being followed. But in addition to whatever the plan says, specifically this person needs to be sure that they're getting good sleep, that they are 7-8 hours of sleep, or you could say rest. They are in the bed that long. And we've talked about this. We need to be sure that they're paying attention to nutrition. They're drinking a lot of water, getting the exercise. They're around healthy people. They're going to recovery groups. And, big one, they're dealing with their thought life. They have, and I've recommended this, the new book that I have, Every Believer's Thought Life, as a way to be sure the thought life is working for them. Because in relapse, the thought life is the relapser first, and it starts to work against the person. So we want to be sure that all these things are going on, and when they're going on, when they're following the plan, and they're taking care of sleep, nutrition, water intake, they're hydrating, they're around healthy people, thought life's going well, that's not relapse. Relapse occurs when those things aren't in place. What do I need to be seeing when things are going well and recovery, not relapse, is the mode that we're in? Well, if you've heard me talk about relapse before, you know that I don't think relapse is a person using pornography again or drinking again or drugging again, whatever. It's not that. It starts long before that, and there are 5 stages. And that I was just talking about, that's the 5th stage. But the first stage is this. Here this person is, they've got a plan of things that they say they're going to do to continue to grow and to truly recover. So the first stage is complacency. That is relapse. When people stop doing the things that they have identified as good and healthy for them, when they stop that, that's when we need to be talking about relapse. So, guy comes to me, he's following the plan, and all of a sudden I say, so tell me about the meetings you went to last week. He says, I didn't go to any meeting. Why? I just didn't have time. I was tired and I didn't have time. Really? Well, that's interesting. That's never happened before. Now, you had some other things that you were committed to. Just wondering, did you go see the counselor that you'd been seeing? No, I didn't do that either. Okay, is your spouse aware that you didn't do these things? No, she's not aware. Okay, so let me share with you what I believe. I believe, and we've talked about this before, you are now in relapse. You are in relapse. No, you haven't used or been viewing pornography or whatever, but you're in relapse. You've stopped doing the things that were helping you, that you were growing toward, and I don't know why. I don't know what flipped you into this mode or whatever, but most likely, it was rationalization that caused you to stop. But reality is, you will either get back in and do the things that you need to do, the things you agreed you were going to do. You're either going to make that choice today and start to do that, or I think you're in big trouble. And so what I want you to do is I want you to commit to me. You're going to talk with your spouse and say, hey, I didn't go to some things. I didn't do some things that were really healthy for me. I got complacent. And I'm back in. My coach helped me to get back on board, and I'm doing them. I'm going to the meetings, things like that. If you're not willing to do that, then I'm sorry. As your coach, I'm not predicting a good future here. And the best thing that you can do for yourself is work through whatever it was that caused you to be complacent. All right, so that's our first stage of relapse. And what a great blessing it is when we can intervene at first stage of complacency. All the 5 stages start with C. And the second stage is the stage of confusion. When I stop going to meetings, when I stop doing the things that are good for me, well, I start to get a bit confused. And in fact, the confusion comes from me starting to minimize the impact of my behavior on other people. Also, I minimize the impact that it had on me. And I start to get confused about whether or not I really had an addiction problem. Whether or not I really should have finished with my drinking or behavior, whatever it was. And I get confused and start to think, I could control this by doing this, I could put a lock on the liquor cabinet and she could have the key and then I just have one drink. So I'm confused. I'm starting to think things that I wasn't thinking when I was involved in the recovery plan. And then in my confusion, I start to glamorize the past rather than look at the reality. For instance, you say to somebody, what was it like when you were drinking? Oh, I would go and I would be at a bachelor's party and I could stand up on a table and I could rhyme and tell poems and tell stories and people loved it. It was amazing. The alcohol just kind of lit me up. Yeah, but what they're leaving out, see, in the confusion, is what it's like to be in a jail cell and everybody there who got picked up is throwing up into the hole in the middle of the jail cell. That's what drinking is about. But they don't think about that. See, they're just glamorizing all the stuff that they were involved with. And they start thinking, the confusion is, wouldn't it be great to be back with old Uncle Jim, Beam specifically. But they start thinking about people they used to hang out with, do things with, wouldn't that be great again, versus thinking, those folks were not good for me. And I'm going to stay away from them. Maybe in 3 years I can get back with them when I'm secure in my recovery, but not now. In the confusion, you think about using, controlling, you start to fantasize about that. So you don't just glamorize the past, you start fantasizing about what it's going to be like when you use again. The confusion only has one place to go, and that's worse. But you could intervene by saying, you're already into the second phase of relapse. You're very confused. You're not looking at what really happened here. You've rationalized all this. You're not looking at what's going to happen. You're very confused about addiction. because addiction gets worse. You can be off of something for a year and you start using again. It's like that whole year you were using. So I want to help you not be confused. And the only way I'm going to be able to do that is for you to get back on the plan. And if you can't get on the plan, I'm going to recommend that you get treatment because you're in big trouble.
Are you going through your struggles alone? Do you want someone to talk to help you through your pain? Do you feel like a failure when you relapse again, telling yourself, next time will be different? Don't walk this path alone anymore. Join a life recovery group today and be a person that your friends and family can be proud of. God created us to be in community, and we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country, and if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. Life Recovery brings recovery to you, right where you are. You'll take a journey with others to find healing and freedom. Whether you're looking to join a group or start one, New Life Ministries is here for you. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE or visit liferecoverytoday.net. It's hard to find a trusted friend when you're in crisis. Someone who's been there and understands, but who also has the training and skill to give you practical help. Family, friends, and churches want to help, but often they're not equipped to care for those dealing with problems like addiction and pornography, infidelity, anger, depression. New Life Ministries is here to provide help and hope in life's hardest places. We're not focused on making people feel better. We're focused on helping people do the work that will help them be better. At New Life, we have resources available to help you, like books, DVDs, CDs, workshops, and our network of licensed counselors. If you need help, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and begin your new life today.
Welcome back. You know, relapse begins at the moment we decide not to work the plan. And sadly, some people don't even have a plan. Well, the awareness of where we're not working our recovery plan provides a lot of clarity. But if we never stop and evaluate, hey, how's the plan going? What parts have I neglected? Then we're not going to fill in where we've got a big void. And the more we understand these subtle stages, the more likely we are that we can intervene on ourselves through awareness. Let's continue to learn about these stages of relapse. So, first stage was complacency. We quit doing all the good things that we were doing. And then the second phase, we get confused, minimize, glamorize, all those kind of things. And then the third phase is the phase of compromise. It's not just in my head, but now I'm starting to do some things that are pretty dangerous. If a person's in the phase of compromise, you're going to see some things start to develop within them, and they probably don't see it or fully understand it themselves. A lot of times the anxiety will start to increase, and they're just not in a good place when they're talking to you. Now, a person you could meet with somebody in 1 week, the next week they could already be into complacency, confusion, and now compromise. They're anxious and they're insecure. You start to talk with them and you hear them very intolerant now of the people that they had hurt, that they were trying to make it right with, but now, they are angry at them. They become very defensive because they're so unhealthy. The things that they're saying were really unhealthy in this confusion stage, and now you're seeing some signs and symptoms that they really are in a compromised mode. And you see major mood swings, and They're not asking for help, they're not sleeping, they're not eating well, all these symptoms. But here's what we see in compromise. The big one, the huge one, is isolation. Whereas they knew they needed to be in community, now pretty much everything they're focused on is just isolating themselves. Maybe in the compromise, they're still going to meetings, but they're not engaging, they're not sharing. In fact, they're probably sitting back thinking, I don't need to be here. These people are worse than me. I don't have it that bad. That's the confusion that's led to the compromise. Here's another one. They start focusing on everybody else's problems and not their own, because they're actually thinking about drinking or drugging or using or whatever, again, calling the person that they had the affair with. They're thinking about that and how that's going to go. Every feeling that's coming up now, shame, rage, loneliness, fear, anger. They try to suppress all of those emotions, but they can't, and they seep out. And here's the biggest thing. Recovery is an honesty program. And so this person is starting to lie, be deceptive and dishonest. And so sometimes the great gift of a coach is to say, hey, Sheila, tell me 3 people you lied to this week. Or who did you talk to and you just weren't truthful with them? Or, Sheila, how are you doing with the temptation to not be truthful or not be honest? And see what happens. But in this compromised position, you're seeing the person go back to the bar, not back to the meeting. You're seeing the person literally call the unhealthy people they were involved with. And so you have to ask them, have you made any contact? Like, have you seen the person that was in that affair you said goodbye to? You start to ask them questions. And at the end of your session, you ask them, have you been truthful with me about everything that's going on in your life? It's going to be hard for them to say yes or to say no if they haven't been truthful. But at least you're inviting them to be truthful. Review, complacency, and then confusion, and then compromise, and here's your 4th stage, craving. This person is drinking everything they can drink, eating everything they can eat because they're craving whatever it was that they got in trouble with. And so the big final stage is the stage of craving. So what you could do when you see that, man, they are compromising and all, you could say, hey, let me ask you something. Are you consuming a lot more than you were? Are you spending a lot more time on videos than you were? Are you starting to crave some things that you weren't craving 2 weeks ago? Or are you in full crave mode? Is this becoming an obsession with you? What you need, what you want to go back to? Are you craving this substance or this behavior or this person? Because the final 5th stage, of course, to keep with the C's and the alliteration, is what I call the catastrophe. You could call it consumption, but I call it the catastrophe. This is the end of the relapse phases when many people think it's just the beginning. And so finally the person goes right back to the old behavior. And here's where you are, hopefully you have permission and say, hey, we need to get some help here for him. we need to get him right back in treatment, or we need to find a program, or we need to up the expectation of what he's going to do. He needs to, go see this counselor twice a week, or he needs to go to more meetings or whatever. And you need to follow through on this what if clause that says he will be leaving and you'll be changing the locks, and he is not welcome in the home until he gets back on the plan that had been established. The most valuable thing you can also do is relapse identification. What a great gift if we start to sense or we know about the complacency and we intervene there and turn it around there, or we turn it around in that confusion phase, or even the compromise or craving, so we don't end up in the big catastrophe. That's a great gift of having a great coach. Thank you for joining me for this, and I will see you next time. Welcome back. When we start to understand relapse, we're really into recovery. Because if we can avoid relapse, we're doing stuff to avoid relapse. We're in the program. We're working the program. Now, if you recognize that you're about to have this big catastrophe, well, just start today. Call somebody and get back on that recovery plan that has proved valuable to you. And if you need help, we're here. And you can call us and we'll help you get back on that path to recovery. But here's the thing. A lot of people put in a lot of great recovery time, clean time, sober time, and then there's relapse. Well, the best thing you can do is not see it as failure, but just see it as relapse. And jump right back in there, get on the plan, and continue the recovery process. I don't know of anybody that's a healthy, recovering person that thinks they're ever done working the steps. And what we've done is we've put these steps right back where they came from, right there in the Bible. So helpful when you use it. Now, everything that life recovery is based on is biblical. And if you want a different kind of experience now that we're in the new year, I want to remind you we've got the 1-year Bible for men. I did all the commentary on that, so there's a lot of recovery concept. And my wife's been recovering longer than me, and she did the 1-year Bible for women. And so they can really help you grow deeper and richer in your experience with truth, God's truth, and with God Himself. Call us if you need us, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. There are many resources that can help you in the process of recovery. I'll see you right here next time on Life Recovery Today.
Thanks for joining us for Life Recovery Today with Stephen Arterburn. We hope this program has helped you integrate God's truth and wisdom into your recovery journey. This program is brought to you by New Life Ministries, and it's your support that keeps this program on the air. When you contact us for any reason, be sure to let us know that you watch on NRB. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to liferecoverytoday.net. Please join us again next week for more Life Recovery Today.